3, 2, 1, let's jam.
What pathetic looking salad is that? It's just straight lettuce with slices of Frankfurt sausages or something.
And this is the only area that's able to produce grain.
Usually Frieren episodes are split into two halves, each their own little adventure that doesn't overlap. But this line sets up the second half of the episode as well as the first, which facilitates the world building a bit better. And now that I think about it, Season 2 really focuses on the world building more compared to Season 1. I mean, we got the hero of the south, introduction of magic nullifying crystals, more exposition on the great ancient civilization introduced in this episode, which I'll get to, and later they teased the Golden Land arc. This slight shift in focus is needed in my opinion, because the first season already did such a good job of establishing the characters that it would be too repetitive and monotonous if they doubled down on that this season. People are already saying Season 2 feels a lot like the first, so yeah, they had to switch it up a little bit, right? That being said, the trio do still grow emotionally. I mean, Vern and Stark literally went on a date last episode, and Frieren is becoming an actual mentor to them, passing on Himmel's teaching like some sort of prophet. Compare that to Season 1, where half the time she'd zone out and get hit with another post-mortem flashback. Okay, so we get introduced to Fast this episode, and right from the get-go, we can tell that this man is motivated. He got that dog in him. The average lifespan of dwarves in Frieren is about 300 years, and given he hasn't seen Frieren in 100 years,
Just a brief 80 years, Fast.
and later he says,
I've poured every day I've had into this for over 200 years.
he is pretty damn old, even for a dwarf. But this man sprints towards Frieren like Herbert the Pervert in that one Family Guy cutaway. On top of this, he literally studied how to mine, and dug for a couple decades at least just to find Bowshaft. All this sells the illusion of how legendary the liquor is, as well as his crippling alcoholism. But Frieren has a serious case of resting bitch face, even worse than usual today, and doesn't want to help an old man out. Why is that, I wonder?
And I'm back on my grind.
Confirmed that much 2 centuries ago when I found this stone monument.
Wait, so he found this 2 centuries ago and just hasn't done anything to remove the barrier since? Like, surely there are other mages that could remove the barrier for him, so what the fuck was he doing all this time?
It's written in ancient Elvish. The inscription proclaims, Bowshaft is the finest spirit of all time. Milliarda. That must be who engraved the stone.
I like how it cuts to Frieren after Fern deduces Milliarde was the one who wrote the plague. The plague was the one who wrote the plaque. This alludes to there being some sort of connection between Milliarde and Frieren. Also, this cutaway to young Fern being force-fed grimoires by Frieren is an example of the world building I was talking about earlier. This translates to magic being around for probably millions of years and was a tool commonly possessed by elves. Since she said most grimoires were written in ancient Elvish, we can assume that the mythical era was the golden age of magic for elves, and also when the goddess of creation appeared. I can go into a lot more depth about this mythical era, but I'll save that for another video. Back to the episode though, did you know that some mad lads actually translated ancient Elvish? Basically just a rebranded form of English, but it's still pretty cool.
I'll make it worth your while.
With a grimoire?
With money. I'll pay you 20 right gold coins.
It's not worth considering.
For Frieren, money is merely a means to an end, and worthless from the perspective of an immortal being. But a grimoire? That's knowledge. And knowledge is power. Kids these days won't understand. So yes, you probably thought that this was a joke, but I'm glad I ruined it for you.
Just so you know, this barrier will take me 3 months to remove.
That's hardly any time at all.
What?
Glad to be on board.
Is that a Witch Hat Atelier reference? It seems like Frieren's doing all the work. I get that Stark and Fast can't do shit here, but surely Fern can help out, right? Or maybe she is by reading. We actually get no information about how magical barriers and seals work. So she could be in mission control, instructing Frieren how to disarm the barrier like it's a bomb or something. Kinda wish they fleshed out the magic system a bit more, like Witch Hat Atelier. I think that would be pretty cool, and it would take the story in like a more unique direction. Oh wow, that's so much wheat! There's no way they'll ever run out of food! Okay, finally, we get to Milliarde. And the best way I can describe her is that she adds another flavor to Frieren's theme of time. So far, the show has explored how time eventually erodes all memories, how spending time with others is precious, how time facilitates the evolution of technology, and most importantly, why you shouldn't waste it. Frieren's entire journey is about making up for lost time by learning to connect with others and developing 2020 hindsight for what Himmel meant to her. But Milliarde is a bum. She's like that uncle your mum tells you not to end up like. The one that lives in a van, whose only source of income is government grants, and who probably likes little. So basically, Milliarde is what happens when you've lost all ambition and now you aren't living, but merely existing. But this is just the surface. Notice how the bird keeps flying in circles, not going anywhere or making progress? Sort of like Milliardaire.
Suppose you spent a lifetime searching for something, only to find it was worthless.
Sure, this line draws a parallel to Fast, but I also think she is insinuating that her life was the same. She is way older than Frieren, and probably from the same era as Kraft. And so that begs the question, what did she spend her life chasing?
I guess we'll never know.
But if I had to guess, I would think it'd be some sort of magic. Because remember how Frieren said the barrier would take 3 months to remove? Well, in a previous episode, Frieren removed Flamme's barrier, which had been protecting her temple for 1,000 years, in 3 seconds. So this must have been some crazy powerful barrier. And who else would have casted it but Milliardaire? So maybe she spent her life mastering magic barriers, only to find out they were worthless. But that's just a theory. A gay theory. Happy Pride Month, by the way. So while Milliardaire is a nihilist, serving as a warning and counterpoint to Frieren's journey, there is still so much we don't know about her to definitively say she's a chud. This vagueness in Frieren's writing is what makes the show so intriguing for me. Having elves in your show doesn't just mean you can edge horny teenagers with big boobies, but allows the author to give them a Bible's length worth of backstory since they live so long. But we don't get this. We know nothing about Ciri, Kraft, or Milliardaire. And Frieren uses this fact to edge potentially smart young adults like me into thinking way more about a fictional world and its characters than my deteriorating real-life circumstances. I spend many of my waking hours just theory crafting about who these elves were in what almost feels like a past life. And I don't think that's bad writing at all. I'm sure they'll be explained in time. Maybe once the author recovers from tuberculosis or some shit. I swear, every goated manga always has an author who is sick, on hiatus, or fucking dead.
What exactly was the point of doing that?
There was no point at all.
Trust me bro, in 1,000 years this will be hilarious.
1,000 years later.
I can't believe that after all these years, I get to taste it!
As Milliardaire alluded to earlier, Fast basically wasted his life searching for piss-tasting booze. But then again, that's what all alcohol tastes like. But yeah, when you reach this point in life where it feels like you've been chasing something for so unimaginably long and it turns out to be worthless, there's 2 routes you can go down. The dark path is represented in this episode by Milliardaire, which is just a check out of life mentally. Spend the rest of it watching the ripples in a pond, convincing yourself that nothing really matters. Or you can be like Haita, just laugh it off. Cause when your whole life turns out to be a joke, the only thing you can do is laugh. And unluckily for the rest of the villagers, Fast decides to become the Joker and murder everyone's taste buds, as well as giving them alcohol poisoning. And so the moral of the first half is that if you are going to suffer, might as well make everyone else suffer as well. Nah, but for real, Frieren is largely a story about enjoying the journey, rather than focusing on the destination. But here we explore what happens when you've reached the end, and it wasn't the result you expected. Instead of becoming aimless and depressed, acknowledge that it sucks, but remember to appreciate the hardship you've been through. And just because the thing you spent your entire life chasing wasn't what you hoped for, doesn't mean those years suddenly mean nothing. Damn, I wish I could end the video here cause that was kinda poetic there. But unfortunately, my steak is too juicy and my lobster is too buttery, and we have another 11 minutes of peak to get through, so let's get to it.
Take your share of today's bread.
No! What happened to all that wheat just 5 seconds ago? This is definitely a recession indicator, and like the title of the episode implies, is what this second half is going to focus on. Basically contextualizing the setting, like I said earlier, but yeah, this bread is actually based off hardtack, which is what soldiers ate during wars, and has been around for thousands of years. I will leave a recipe in the description if you want to make it yourself, so you can be more immersed in the story. Ah yes, where have I seen this before?
It's the Norm Company's estate. The military force to supply
Also,
the
this is a
villages
good time to note that we've already seen the Norm Company before. More specifically, the Chivalric Guard who have these red capes. This might be a bit of a stretch, but remember Graf Granite's flashback in the Aura arc? This is implied to be his son, and he's wearing a red cape, so maybe he was part of them as well.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Oh look, it's those dudes we met in Season 1, Episode 3.
It's the Norm Company's estate.
I am Norm, the company president.
Yep, that tracks.
I'm afraid you owe me some money.
Oh, and this explains the detail from earlier, which is that Frieren and Eisen were also on the wanted posters. Why aren't Himmel and Haita there? I don't know how to tell you this, but they died in the first 2 episodes of the show, and dead people can't pay debts. Dead people can't repay debts. So he says Frieren has 20 rife gold, which we can assume is what Fast gave them in the last half. But in this next shot, there's 23. Yeah, I counted them.
I'm afraid this isn't nearly enough.
It seems I'll be working in the company's mines for the next 300 years.
This part got spoiled for me on Insta, and I thought it was a joke at first. What is Frieren's deal with making these random background characters look straight out of One Punch Man? And mind you, these guys are probably the nicest, most humble men you'll ever meet. It's like that big guy at the gym you're too afraid to talk to.
No choice but to buy back Mistress Frieren.
That's quite an interesting choice of words, Fern. Okay, so this next part is really cool, and it's already been talked about. Yes, I watched Pei's video just like you, so I'm not gonna repeat what he's already said, but what I would like to add is that so much eye candy was put into this casting to represent Frieren's perspective on magic. Magic that helps people is beautiful in her eyes. It can even change a life, and that's why so much weight was put behind this frame of the manga, because it's what she views as the most important thing about magic. This is the goddess of creation I was yapping about earlier.
I've never seen so much silver.
I've returned. My journey shall continue.
Our plan was to raid the mine once the sun went down.
Goodness.
She holding that thing like it's an orb. Well, I guess it is, isn't it? So yeah, that's it for this episode. Not too shabby, but definitely a more low-key and laying the groundwork type shit. Mostly just fleshing out the world since we get introduced to the Norm Company who have a monopoly over the North, some history hinting towards a lost civilization, and even a new language. Again, it's a 10 out of 10 episode. Frieren does not miss. And with that being said, thanks for watching, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.